All right, folks, so over the weekend, I finally got a chance to go hands-on with the Apple Vision Pro. I know a lot of people have already done it. I recommend you go ahead to an Apple store, set up an appointment, and get your hands-on experience as well. This is going to be mine. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It wasn't all peaches and cream here, but it was an unforgettable experience. So, guys, go ahead and subscribe, click the bell, and let's dive into the video. I'm Chris Grant Jr. It's the Granted Geek Show. All right, so I was in the city of Boston over the weekend, headed over to an Apple store and was able to get my hands-on experience with the Apple Vision Pro. Now, I'm going to be talking about my experience in chronological order. So whether it's a positive or negative point that I'm making, it's not intentional. So it was a very Apple-esque experience. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say the word experience in this video. It's actually starting to annoy me. Anyway, it was great. I enjoyed the presentation and all of those things. When I put the headset on, however, and this is my first point, it was uncomfortable for me. I would have liked them to have that alternative headband there because it really started to become annoying. I was so amazed at the technology that it put the pain out of my mind. And here's the thing, anytime you're designing a headband or any kind of wearable, comfort is something that needs to be at the forefront. And Apple's no stranger to this. They've done AirPods. I think those are incredible. I think they're a great fit for me, but again, it's hit or miss. Everybody's gonna have a different, maybe my head is just shaped weird, who knows? But I did find it to be uncomfortable within the first 30 seconds of putting it on. I tried to maybe tighten it up, adjust it a few times, but I figured I would just drown out the pain because I didn't want to spend the whole time fidgeting with it. The first thing I saw after putting it on was the transparency mode when it powered up. This was also a lackluster experience for me. The cameras did not look that good. Now, the Apple Store was kind of dimly lit, and so obviously they're cameras, and they're gonna struggle a little bit in low light. These were probably old iPhone sensors or cameras they have in there for the transparency mode, and it was just pretty grainy. I would imagine in brighter lit areas or outside, they would look fantastic, and you wouldn't be able to notice. Well, you're still gonna be able to notice, but it was just noticeably bad in the dimly lit Apple Store. Now, to the first positive, once they started putting up those digital assets, right? You're talking some serious resolution. You got a 4K display per eye in this headset. And so any kind of interface or digital asset that was being presented, whether it was a movie or some kind of graphic, pristine, so sharp. And again, that paired with its eye tracking ability, the chef's kiss right there. So the digital assets were amazing. And from there, I want to get to the first thing I thought of when I saw they pulled up Super Mario Brothers for me. This device marks the beginning of the end of movie theaters. I was able to experience the movie in a huge screen, okay? Good enough distance from my face. The first thing I thought of, or that my body felt like I was in a theater. The only thing that I didn't have was the ability to share that experience. And that seems like a relatively easy fix. You've already got SharePlay, I believe it's called. So once they add SharePlay to the Apple Vision Pro, where you can watch the movie with other people with Apple Vision headsets, or even over FaceTime or things like that, it's gonna be like a movie experience. You pair that bad boy with a good sound system, not the headphones, although they were pretty good. Pairing that with a home theater system, it's going to kill movie theaters, especially because they're not gonna overcharge you for candy. Music visualizers, I don't think it's gonna kill them necessarily, but it's going to radically change them. I think there's gonna be a boom in music visualizers, and I think it could potentially take over a bigger market share than even music videos, or they may just become one thing. The music video for a song will now be an intimate experience between you and the artist, something that you can see and feel the beat and the artist is there with you. Who knows? It's going to be incredible what they're able to do and how they'll be able to enhance music. You think about spatial audio in this, now add a visual element to that, to where you're looking around and hearing the drums coming from where you visually see them, vocals doing the same thing, etc. So I think music is going to see a big boom as the Apple Vision Pro gets wider adoption. They did a dinosaur demo. I think that was really cool. It actually showcased the Vision Pro's ability to have things come out of the screen. Over time, you start to forget that the transparency mode is there. I think Marquez said this in his review. You know, your eyes adjust and you're not thinking that you're looking at screens when you're looking at the world around you. So then when they put a screen in front of you, you're naturally thinking it's going to play by the laws of physics. But everything you're seeing is digitally represented. And so when they have the dinosaur, it actually comes out of the screen. It wasn't to jolt you or anything, but you know, you could just see the dinosaur sticking its face out of the screen, and that was very impressive as well. So I think that movies designed for Apple Vision Pro, it's going to be a lot harder to do, but I'm sure there are some big time producers already having conversations with Apple. I know Apple TV has kind of given Apple a huge arm in the movie industry now, and so they'll be able to ink deals with big producers and production companies in order to showcase their own technology and things like Apple Vision Pro to have experiences in movies that are 3D or 360. The battery pack. The battery pack ain't it. Okay, but it's a Gen 1 device, but it just feels so like retro space age, and that's not really Apple's style. Most of the time, they're very chic and modern, and the battery pack, though they made it pretty, is still a big honking battery that is attached to you. Now for the demo, you don't actually put that battery pack on you, it's just right there on the table, and I would imagine that's how most people are gonna use it because they're gonna use the Apple Vision Pro in the house. I don't think it's probably going to be used outside until Gen 3 or Gen 4, so we're looking at 10 years, maybe, depending on the release cycle. I don't think we're going to get one of these every year, but if they do, maybe sooner. But that battery pack's got to go. Because of that, I was thinking, why don't they just use the iPhone as the battery pack? You know, iPhone technology with their batteries, they're getting better, roughly. You know, they're messing with new technologies. Take away all the processing power from the Apple Vision Pro, as you have a more powerful chip in the iPhone anyway, okay? And just allow the iPhone to do all that heavy processing and data crunching and shoot it to the headset, and that way the only thing the headset is worried about is eye tracking, basically. And maybe gyroscope to track the head movement, because you don't want the gyro from the iPhone working because it's gonna be tracking your leg movement. So if there was any way to just have the motion and eye tracking and camera sensors being powered and leaving all the graphics and interface and things like that to the iPhone, maybe you could end up with a lighter battery. I don't know, or something that the iPhone could deal with. I'm sure they've experimented with that and are continuing to do so, but I really think it's a way for, instead of the Apple Vision Pro killing the iPhone, it could be a way that the Apple Vision Pro saves the iPhone and makes it relevant for the future, is that it will be that device that powers the Apple Vision Pro. Much like the early days of the Apple Watch, where it was very iPhone dependent. So another thing they had me open up was the Photos app, and they're doing some really innovative things in this space as well. Certainly not the first, but they're doing it in a unique way, which is what Apple often does. So you open up the Photos app, pinch to zoom is just this, and then you can do a reverse pinch. It's very responsive. I didn't find that it was too finicky. A couple of misfires, just super precise with the hand tracking of this thing. And they have you actually calibrated by looking at your hands. Panoramic photos are brought to life in a whole new way. And now they have these like 3D memory videos where the video is kind of faded out around the subject, and so it feels like it's in the room with you, a part of the space, and you almost feel like you're there, except there's no kind of like depth to it. It's still very much a flat video. I feel like in the future, if they could use the multiple cameras on the iPhone to maybe make some sort of 3D video, they could represent that in the Apple Vision Pro. Again, tying the relevance of the iPhone to the Apple Vision Pro. I think that would be really cool to enhance the experience of those videos, because I noticed that when I tried to move my head forward, it would just be like, oh, you've moved, you're too close, or anything like that. Something I wish they had shown me during the presentation was its ability to pair with a Mac and then have the Mac screen show up in your virtual world. We did some web browsing. Like I said, they showed me movies, we looked at some dinos, we looked at the Photos app, but a lot of people are maybe interested in this Apple Vision Pro for productivity. Gone could be the days of having multiple monitors, especially if you can make these monitors super large and still have that 4K resolution and be able to move your workspace with you as long as this thing is on your head. So I wish that they would have incorporated that, maybe just had a dedicated iMac or a MacBook Pro there on the table so that we could take that Mac display and use it like that. Maybe they shied away from that because if you're in a virtual environment, you can still see your hands, but you can't see the keyboard, and so that would obviously make working on a computer difficult. I don't think Apple thought that one completely through. There should be a way that they can deal with that. And from there, I actually want to talk about improvements that Apple can make for the next gen. Now, obviously a lot of hardware, anything that Apple makes, anything any tech company makes for that matter, it can be significantly held back by software. And that was something I think there was kind of a lack of. I think as developers really start to make more software, more fun games, more productivity apps, etc., just like with the iPhone, I think this could explode and the App Store could be full of Vision Pro dedicated apps that could really take off and push the Apple Vision Pro into the mainstream. I mean, when you have Netflix, because Netflix commented on this, they said they're not actually working on an app right now for the Vision Pro because it's just not significant enough of a product. So I think there's some convincing that developers need. I think personally it's pretty foolish if you don't get on board with this, because whether you think that the Apple Vision Pro Gen 1 is it or not, this tech is the future. So you need to have something ready. You need to have something ready to go for a VR or AR experience. So from there, I want to talk about my wish list for things Apple can improve on in the next gen. I know it's crazy already thinking about the next gen, but I wanted to separate it from the developer segment because Apple doesn't control what software developers make. They can team up with companies and things like that, but by and large, developers are a separate thing. So here's what I think. First, they got to make it more comfortable, at least for my oddly shaped head, okay? It's going to be, I couldn't imagine using that thing for more than 20 minutes. And I think that was the general consensus. They said 20 minutes to a half hour. A lot of reviewers were saying it starts to become uncomfortable. If it hurts to be on your head, people are not going to choose to use it. The second thing, the battery, thinner and lighter, which is what Apple is good at anyway, and almost to an annoying level with iPhone and all these things. It's lighter, it's thinner, but here's why it's so crucial for Apple Vision Pro. It doesn't matter how heavy my iPhone is, right? I'm not carrying it all the time. With iPad, not carrying that all the time. The watch, you know, if the weight of this is bothering you, you probably need to get some more exercise. But the Apple Vision Pro sits on your head constantly. And so thinner and lighter, every percentage point is going to count because it's just going to continue to strain your neck. And unless future humans are gonna have necks like out here, it is a point that Apple really needs to focus on, making the battery thinner and lighter and making the headset thinner and lighter. The next thing is a better transparency mode. Let's get some better cameras on this thing. I understand it's a first gen product. These resolutions on these screens are 4K. So can we get some sort of better sensor to let in more light? We know it's not a resolution issue, but it's a sensor issue. So better cameras for transparency mode. Another thing I would like to see is some sort of look pairing. Like you shouldn't have to get on your Mac and like hit screen share, this, that, or you should be able to grab the screen from your iPad, your iPhone, or your Mac just by looking at it if you're on the same Wi-Fi network. The tech around that is still probably being developed, but that would be a great thing to see in the next iteration of the Apple Vision Pro. I think if Apple can manage to just make those few improvements, they're not easy, but if they can do that, it's going to go a long way to help move the entire mainstream toward a VR AR future, which I think is what Apple wants to do. But obviously, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you've experienced the Apple Vision Pro for yourself, definitely hit me up. I'd love to chat it up with you guys and share your experience. If you're thinking about buying one, also let me know. I guess I should answer that question. To me, it's not worth the buy right now. And I've bought a lot of first gen Apple products, but they are trying to make a little bit of that R&D budget back. You know, they definitely did a lot of research and development to make a headset like this, and so that's part of that huge price tag. But in the future, that price will come down as the tech becomes more common. So again, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss more videos just like this one. I'm Chris Grant Jr. It's the Granite Geek Show.